I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we have a very special edition for you. We are live from the American Library Association Conference in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and we have an exclusive interview with a very prolific writer and author, Bella Karoli, who joins us live right now. Bella, thanks for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. Thank you for the interview. You're welcome. Good to see you.
I appreciate your time. Now, this is quite a day for you. You're not launching one book, you're actually launching 3 books at this very prestigious publishing event. Tell me about the launches.
All right. The launches are, I have the 3 books. The first one that I ever wrote actually was Cute and Smart.
Okay.
And I originally had it published by a different publisher and it went nowhere. So then I learned about Meraki Media. And I told Dwayne Barker about it, and he said, send it to me. So I did. And he revised it. They revised it, took out a lot of things that weren't right. Not that I did, but that the publisher did, apparently.
Right.
And so then the book looks terrific right now. It garnered quite a bit of attention today at the convention.
I'm sure.
So far. And
sure.
Then the other book I wrote that he published was called Medley, and it was a group of short stories written over the last 20 years or so about anything and everything, which is how I write. I see something, I get an idea, and I write about it. Great. So that's how I do it. And then this book actually was revised. They took out one story called Morgue that I wrote maybe somewhere in the early 2000s. And he wants to make a film out of that. And wonderful. It's about the paranormal. And people are very interested in the paranormal. So this is about a person who works in a hospital morgue, and he sees the spirits of the deceased. And he can talk to them. Wonderful. And he gets their stories about their lives. So that's one of the things. And then the latest book is called Trio. And I called it Trio because I have 2 poems, several short stories that are more recently written. And at the end, not the music but just the lyrics to 2 songs that I have written.
Gotcha.
And so that's a combination of what's going on with those books. As I say, they are out on the table for anybody to come by and look at. And quite a few people did. And one young man this afternoon was very interested in Trio. A couple people were interested in Medley. And as I thought was going to happen, when you have a very, very cute dog on the cover of a book, that gets a lot of attention.
Absolutely.
And it did. So that's so Cute and Smart.
Exactly. I was looking at Cute and Smart today on Amazon. And when I saw the title Cute and Smart, at first I thought it was a biography of me. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a wonderful title. It's a beautiful dog you have on the cover. And you tell really wonderful stories about dogs in this book. Tell me a little bit more about Cute and Smart.
All right. It was originally published in 2013. It came out at the very end of the year by a publisher in New York. And it was a self-published book, and I didn't have any money at the time to continue to promote it, so it went absolutely nowhere. It's a story about my Yorkie at the time, Parker. I call him Parker Barker. And what's that on there? It's a story about how his master loses his keys. And so he hunts all over the house to try to help him find the keys. And he does find the keys eventually and is rewarded as a result. And the original book had a lot of my own photographs and my own drawings in it of the animals. And somehow or other, some of those pictures came out very dark. And I know that's not how I sent them into the publisher. Right. They were colored or they were very dark. And I think that's why part of the reason nobody was interested, because it wasn't visually attractive.
Right. But now the book has been revised. It's been updated. The pictures are updated. So everything's looking a lot better. And there's a lot more interest in the book, as I understand it.
There is, and on the, forgot what page it's on, but there's a picture of the original Parker, the real Parker.
The Parker
in the
Barker.
book. Parker Barker, yes. Yeah. He's in the book. It's a small picture. I think it's like right before you get to the page, right before you get into the story. And it shows him looking at the camera, and he's got a little purple oval toy, little purple oval squeaky toy in his mouth. And he just stands there and he's looking at me. And everybody, I show people the pictures of the real Parker, and everybody, oh, how cute. That's the first thing I'd ever hear out of anybody's mouth. Cute.
Right. Right.
Well, he was extremely smart. And I also wrote the second story, actually, is my intention was to use that as English as a second language. I went and got a master's degree in special education, which I just finished a couple of years ago. And while I was taking the courses of English as a second language, I realized that the way I wanted to do it, I couldn't do. But I have already written several stories about the animals in the rescue place, which is a farm run by a family of father, mother, and 2 children. The parents run the farm and take care of the animals. And there's all kinds of different animals that have been rescued. And I've already written several stories about them. I need to write more stories about Parker. I've got one other story about Parker written. Awesome. So I need to come up with a few more, but he was such a beautiful dog, so smart, and he could get into trouble really easy because he was curious and he investigated things. So that's why I guess they called him Parker Barker, dog detective.
That's great. I think you're onto something, certainly, with telling stories about dogs, because I think there's 2 things that people are interested in: babies and dogs, and maybe perhaps more interested in dogs even than babies, especially right now. I see more people pushing baby carriages filled with dogs than I do baby carriages filled with babies.
Yes, I have noticed myself an uptake in the number of people who actually are doing that.
I know.
So I think, oh, there's a baby in there. No, it's a dog.
It's a very hairy baby, very cute baby. Tell me a little bit about your background. You've been writing pretty much all your life, as I understand it, correct?
Pretty much. I know that my mother told me when I was 3, I could pick out all the letters of the alphabet on her typewriter. But at the age of 5, I was reading grown-up books. And I started writing. Actually, I found an old report card of mine a few months ago, and the teacher made a comment on it that I was writing stories. I don't know if she was writing stories, but I was doing some writing already in 3rd grade.
Wow.
Probably poetry, because the words rhyme and I thought it was easier. But by 5th and 6th grade, I was writing stories. And I definitely continued that into junior high and high school. And when I went to college, then it was more the academic writing. But then afterward, eventually I picked up pen and paper and started writing. So it's been somewhat sporadic, but it was always there. And I found 2 stories that I had written in my 20s on my typewriter. And into my 40s, I started doing other things. But as time went on, I got back into writing, and then I got back into it seriously near the end of 1990s, and started writing. I wrote a series of stories about a Dalmatian and a seagull who were friends, and their adventures. And then I just started, my friend got a computer. So I started with using the computer to write my stories on. And I'd come home from work, and then one morning I had, oh my God, I flew out of bed, wrote down the song lyrics. Then when I came to work, the melody came to me, and then I started writing more lyrics in the melody. And when I came home from work, I wrote out the whole melody and put the words in the song together.
Wonderful.
And this is how I do it. In Medley, the first story of Medley is called The Drop. And I was driving a lot between my home in Arizona and an ill friend in Henderson, Nevada. And I would go up and stay with him for several days and then go back home to Arizona. And while I was finishing my master's degree and in the process of getting it, I started writing a novel about a lizard. Because Arizona is, they have lizards. So I had found this tiny baby lizard. So in the bathroom. So I started writing about it. And that blossomed into half a novel. And then I started writing other short stories in between all that. And even when I was student teaching, I still continued to write short stories. And a lot of those stories ended up both in Medley and in Trio. Wonderful. So now I'm writing a slightly different kinds of stories, but they're long. They're the way I could describe them would be long, short stories. The way I write is I get this idea, I sit down and I start with the introduction, and then the story just flows. I just let the story tell itself, and the story tells itself through me. And I don't even know sometimes what my characters are going to do or say, or what the outcome is going to be. I don't plan it. It just happens.
Inspiration.
And that's my writing style.
Right. Wonderful, wonderful. It's a terrific writing style. We're glad you have continued your writing over these years. And I'm glad that it has culminated into these 3 books. As we have a few minutes left, tell me a little bit about the American Library Association Conference. How's that going for you? What's the event like? Give us a little bit of a report from the floor, if you will.
Well, it's much, much bigger than I ever anticipated it would be. It's held in one of the convention centers here in where the heck am I? Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello. Good morning. And I started walking around the floor today just to check out some of the other booths and other tables and see the displays. And just the little bit that I was able to see held such a variety of ideas and talents and books that librarians want in their library. And I just saw a tiny fraction of the huge number of entrants that are in this convention hall. I mean, I called my friend just a few minutes ago, and I told him, I said that this convention hall could easily hold 3 B-47s, and that's one of the biggest airplanes there is.
Wow.
And that's, well, at least 2, and probably another one could fit in with the tail sticking out. But that's how big this convention hall is. There are hundreds of entrants, and librarians are walking around. There's a lot of librarians who are exhibitors. There are teachers who are exhibitors. There are companies who are exhibitors. And some are book related and some are not book related. For example, I don't know if you can see it too clearly, but the necklace that I'm wearing right now is actually Navajo design.
Right.
And there's 2 booths. I found 2 booths that have Navajo jewelry.
That's lovely. It's nice that it's a whole array of different media there. It's nice that it's primarily books, but there's other things there as well.
Electric company is there. There's what else? Other non-book publishers, but related to the publishing field. And that's just the few that I saw today.
Exactly.
So
And today was day one. You're back there tomorrow. Let's remind the audience of your books. They are Cute and Smart. They are Medley and Trio. All are available right now, as I understand, on Amazon and other places where books are sold. And
That's correct.
This is a wonderful time for you, Bella. I appreciate you coming and joining us here today on Spotlight. And I wish you a tremendous amount of success at the conference and beyond. I got a feeling these books are going to take off.
Well, I'm thinking that because of the interest in dogs people have, that Cute and Smart is probably the one that's really going to take off. And when people begin to realize some of the craziness in my stories, some are very serious. Most of them are lighthearted, but they range on anything and everything I can think of. Whatever ideas come into my head, I'll write about it.
I love it. I love it.
Right now I've got way more titles than I have time to write the stories.
Yep. Well, I think more is coming. And Cute and Smart, as you said, I think is the pick of the litter at this point, no pun intended.
Yes.
Bella Karoli, you can see her tomorrow on the floor of the American Library Association conference in Washington, D.C. If you're at the conference already, stop by and say hello. Bella, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you very much. And you can find me at booth 863.
Got it. And folks, if you're listening, stop by, say hello to Bella. I'm Logan Crawford. To all our viewers out there, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.
Thank you.